In this objective, we're going to determine an equation for a line that goes through a given point and is either parallel or perpendicular to a given line. So they're going to give you the equation of a line, and they're going to give you a point. They're also going to tell you if they want you to make another equation that is parallel to this given equation, or if they want it to be perpendicular to the given equation. So we have to remember what we learned about parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slopes. So let's take a look at number 1. Which equation describes the line that passes through the point, -2, -5, and is parallel to the graph of y equals 3x minus 4? So we want to start with realizing that we need lines that are parallel. So for number 1, I want the line that I choose to have an equation that is parallel to this line. But it also has to go through this point. That's going to be important to us in a couple of minutes. So when I'm thinking about parallel lines, I know they have the same slope. This one, they've given me the equation already in slope-intercept form. So you can see that the slope of this line is 3. Well, this one also has a slope of 3, so that might be a possible answer. This one has a slope of -3, so I can go ahead and eliminate that one as a choice. Because this is in slope-intercept form, I can immediately tell that those slopes are not the same. These two have the same slope, so that one might be possibly the correct answer. But this one, again, has a slope of -3, so that can't be the correct answer. So we're going to eliminate that one also. Now, there is no simple way to just tell what the intercept is. Notice this is the y-intercept. This line had a y-intercept of -4. This answer has a y-intercept of +1. This one has a y-intercept of +13. There is no way for you to quickly tell without doing a little bit of work. So we know that we've already discussed this, that they have to have the same slope. So I know that my m value for my line is going to be 3. I also know that it goes through this point, -2, -5. Hopefully you're thinking, I know a point, I know a slope, I can put this into point-slope form. So we're going to do y minus y1. Here's our y value, -5, equals m, which in this case is 3, times x minus the x value, which in this case is -2. Okay, we can clean this up a little bit. Y minus -5 is really just y plus 5. And that equals 3 times x minus -2 is x plus 2. Okay, now notice that all of these are in slope-intercept form, and this one's not. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of work here. We're going to distribute first. Remember, we always take care of parentheses first. So y plus 5 equals 3 times x, which is just 3x, and then 3 times 2, which is 6. And then to finish solving for y, I'm going to subtract 5 on each side. So now we know that y equals 3x plus 1. That means we're going to want to choose choice A. Ooh, that's terrible. Okay. And remember, if you don't get something that's an answer choice, you need to go back, check through your work, figure out what you did wrong. Number 2. Actually, we're going to skip number 2 because number 2 is identical to number 1. They wanted in slope-intercept form, which is what we had here in our answer choices. They've provided you with a point, and they've provided you with an equation of a line. And again, they want it to be parallel. So we would use -6 as our m value we would use 2 and 3 as our x1 and y1 values, and we just put it in point slope form, do a little algebra, just like number 1. So let's go ahead and skip over to number 3. We'll take a look at that one. That one is a little bit different. Which equation describes the line that passes through the point? Again, we have a point, but this time they want it to be perpendicular to this line. And if you notice this time, this line is in standard form. It's not, there's no way to just look at that and tell immediately what the slope is without doing a little bit of work. So first I'm going to start by writing down the equation, 2x minus 3y equals negative 12. I want to solve for y so that I can find out what the slope is. I'm going to put this into slope-intercept form. So we're going to subtract 2x from each side. It gives us negative 3y equals negative 2x minus 12. I'm going to multiply everything by a negative here to get rid of all that negativity. So we get 3y equals 2x plus 12. And now we'll divide everything by 3. Remember, our goal is to solve for y. Got to keep that end in mind. All right, 2x divided by 3 is just 2/3 x, plus 12 divided by 3 will give us 4. So we now know that our m value, or our slope of this line that they gave us, is 2/3. What else do we know? We know that we actually want our line to be perpendicular to that line. So we don't want that slope. We want our new slope to actually be the negative reciprocal of the slope of that original line. Here's the slope of the original line. Remember, we took that equation. We worked through all of this algebra to solve for y. We found out that it had a slope of 2/3. So we're going to take the negative reciprocal of that. We're going to use the point -4, -3. And now since we have a point and a slope, we're going to put it in point slope form. So y minus our y value, -3, equals m, which is -3 halves, times x minus the x value, which is -4. So we get y plus 3 equals -3 halves times x plus 4. I'm going to take a look back at what we want our answer to look like, and they've got them all in standard form. So we're going to do some distribution here. Y plus 3 stays on the left side, and I'm going to go ahead and distribute here. -3 halves times x is -3 halves x. And then when I multiply these two together, I have a negative times a positive. That gives me negative. 3 times 4 is 12. And 2 in the denominator times an invisible 1 gives me 2. Now I could turn that into 6, but I'd really like to get rid of these denominators anyway. So I'm just going to multiply everything by 2. So we get 2y plus 6, don't forget to distribute, equals, now when I multiply 2 times this, it'll cancel the denominator, so we have -3x. 2 times that fraction, those denominators will cancel with that denominator, so I'm left with just -12. Almost done. We're going to add 3x to both sides. Remember, we're trying to get the x and the y on the same side here. And we're going to move this constant to the other side by subtracting. So we end up with 3x. This was a positive 2y. Those are canceled out. Those are canceled. And we have equals negative 18. So 3x plus 2y equals negative 18. That is our final answer, which means we're going to choose answer B. All right, I hope that helped. We're going to skip number 4 because it's just like number 3. They want it in standard form. They've given you a point. They want it to be perpendicular. So you would solve this equation for y, find the slope, look for the m value, and then take the negative reciprocal of that, put that negative reciprocal slope and the point into point slope form, and then convert it back into standard form. Okay, hope that helped.